my crown jewel is Cheesemonger Invitational, which is not necessarily what people specifically think it is. It is a big party where we have a festival of cheese and a lot of fun.
And there's a cow suit.
I show up in a cow suit. But it's really actually like a community building education seminar that we provide for participating cheesemongers. So it's 2.5 days of free education. Then there's a private preliminary competition. And then there's the public-facing party that happens at the end. 30, I decided to be a rapper and produce a rap album. At the age of 32, I realized I was not going to be the next Eminem. In 2010 is when I launched Cheesemonger Invitational. And I absolutely love what I do. I mean, to me, I don't have a job. I have like 16 jobs.
Same.
And for the event stuff, especially Cheesemonger Invitational, very much involved with every aspect. From canvassing mongers to soliciting sponsors and hosts to setting the schedule to, like I said, pouring water for them during the education days. The inspiration for Cheesemonger Invitational was a simple initiative. We were spending a lot of money on the fancy food show to represent there, and I just didn't see the ROI. And since I had a warehouse and I had a background as a DJ, party promoter, and rapper, I was like, let's throw a party in my warehouse. My father was like, absolutely not. And I was like, I didn't mean party, I meant cheesemonger competition.
Yeah.
He said, that's a great idea. And so that was the original idea. That night, I'll never forget, in the crowd, we had like leaders of the cheese business, and we had cheesemongers in the cheese business. And the cheesemongers were who I was focused on, and they were all walking around seemingly dumbfounded. So I couldn't help but check in with them and be like, what's going on? Why do you look like that? And they were just in such awe and gratitude for their words. Nobody had ever shined the spotlight on them. At that time, the cheesemaker was the rock star.
Yeah.
But me, with my DJ background, I felt the cheesemonger was the rock star. They're the mouthpiece. They're the MC. They're the one who cares for it. They're the one who actually samples it. They're the one who tells the story. They're the one that ultimately decides if the cheese has a future or not with the consumer. And so for me, it was like a no-brainer. Like, no, you guys are the ones. Since then, I've been hell-bent on increasing the educational opportunities afforded by CMI. We've initiated and enabled many, many visits to Cheesemakers thanks to your performance in CMI. And I've single-handedly witnessed the evolution of cheesemongers as it relates to their relationship to cheese. And what do I mean by that? Well, the CMI event incorporates your core stuff that you do at the shop, let's say cutting, wrapping, selling. But we've also pushed it with the food service rounds like Perfect Beverage, Perfect Plate, and Perfect Bite. And what's been so heartwarming to me is seeing how over the years the intricacy, the complexity, the execution, the composition, the flavor bombs that they've initiated through those food service rounds is nothing short of amazing. And coupled with that is I've also been able to walk, because we don't judge cheesemongers at CMI, we score them, and it's very important that they get their scores and get feedback associated with their scores. So for me, one of the coolest things has been able to see cheesemongers come in, be afraid of stage fright, I haven't been in cheese that long, and participate, and see the lights turn on in them, see the passion really be ignited in them, and then come back, and let's say the first time they scored in the bottom percentile, come back, make it to the finals, win, really elevate themselves as an individual. So, in short, I think cheesemongers, I'm hell-bent on getting what a cheesemonger is out there more to the mainstream population. They're not just people who cut your cheese. They're people that have an infinite amount of knowledge associated with cheese and accoutrement and wine and beer and recipes. And cheesemongers themselves have been able to explore other cool things such as like ACS's CCP. There's just for the community of cheesemongers in my tenure has blossomed, has grown. Their skill set has evolved, has changed, has improved, and opportunities for like, what's fascinating is certain cities don't have enough cheesemongers. Certain cities have too many cheesemongers. Cheese is an opportunity for you to realize that you can be passionate about what you do, take pride in your work, be well-rounded in how you approach your day, and then those life lessons, those work experiences can then ideally translate to other industries and other career opportunities.
I really feel like that Cheesemonger reconnects us with the food because they tell the story. They know who the maker is. They know what the animal was. They know where it came from. They can explain the terroir.
100%. They're the last stop before the mouth, right? So you've got a cheese that comes from a dairy. That dairy might represent generations, if not decades, if not over a century of production. That production comes from milk. Those dairy farmers could be, again, multi-generational. Then the cheese travels an extensive amount of distance and time, as I've previously highlighted, touching more companies like exporter, importer, distributor, retailer. All these companies represent people, multi-generational, decades, if not longer experience, care, consideration. Cheese gets to the counter. The cheesemonger, they're the ones that either decide that she succeeds or fails. They, in fact, harvest the money. They harvest the money, then it goes back upstream. So for cheesemongers, and what's interesting about cheesemongers is if you're behind the counter, you're an expert, according to the person in the shop. Whether it's your first day, last day, whether you're hungover, whether your significant other broke up with you, you know what I mean? Like, regardless of what you're dealing with, right, it does not matter to the consumer who sees you there, and because you're there, you're the expert. And you need to show up, and you need to very quickly discern, often mind read, often be a translator, interpreter, what they're looking to purchase and deliver them a perfect piece of cheese. Ideally more than one, and ideally with associated accoutrement. Understanding honey, understanding jam, understanding jelly, understanding bread, understanding wine, understanding beer, understanding olive. And so matchmakers, tastemakers, terroir tour guides, they're food fear therapists, they're sensory Svengalis, they're educators, mind readers. It's
And if they're good, they can cut the exact amount of cheese that you've asked for.
And deliver you exactly what you're looking for. Because lexicon is a key issue here. People know what a brie is, but don't necessarily know what a bloomy, soft, ripened cheese is.
Right.
And so for a cheesemonger, they need to understand that when they say they want a brie, what they're really talking about is soft, ripened, bloomy rind. When they're saying they want a poisse, what they're really talking about is really funky, wash rind. If they say they don't like blue and you want to encourage them to buy blue, you got to start with an entry-level blue like Cheriboga or Gorgonzola Dolce.
Gateways.
Gateways, exactly. And then also it's really important is to help them develop lexicon-like texture, right? Everybody knows the word creamy, but every cheese can't be creamy. So helping them develop lexicon from creamy to custardy to fudgy to waxy, to pillowy, to cheesecakey. The cheesemonger, is, this is where I get really deep, right? So I think humans are deeply disconnected from food. In fact, deeply disconnected from themselves. I believe today more people care about their digital avatar than their organic self. And for me, cheesemongers are the bridge to meaningful connections. That if a cheesemonger does their job well, they can help consumers become more connected with cheese, which then is more connected with food, then with themselves, their lexicon. Lexicon is a gateway to senses, right? Words trigger mind, trigger memory. And so ideally, if a cheesemonger does their job correctly, the consumer's all of a sudden experiencing memories, experiencing nostalgia, experiencing places, and then ideally they're sitting down with groups of people, and then together they're sharing, and they're then triggering each other with intimate thoughts and memories. In short, what we're doing is we're awakening the senses, and I believe that 5 senses working in harmony is the 6th sense. The 6th sense is, in fact, the Force. And so if a cheesemonger does their job well, what they're really doing is fostering Padawans, aka enabling people to become Jedis who tap into the Force, which then save the Milky Way.
Absolutely. This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
Okay, well, I'm mindful of your time, and we've been on for an hour. So I have one final question, and it's a little bit silly. I heard you on
Hawker.
No, it's not that question.
No,
No.
we would never ask you that.
We've done our research. We would never ask you that. So I did hear you on Cutting the Curd, and it was about 10 years ago. And you said if you won the lottery, you would make cheese. You went on to say that you would then get a giant cheese-shaped bus, and you would travel around the country giving people cheese and educating them. So I'm wondering, it's been 10 years. Has your answer changed? What would you do if you won the lottery?
If I won the lottery, I would most likely attempt to revitalize dairy culture within my state of New York. I would love to have acreage. I would love to not be a farmstead cheesemaker, but set up farmers, enable, for example, cheesemongers that might want to go in that direction, set them up with pasture, set them up with herd.
Autochthonous cultures.
I wouldn't personally make cheese. I don't have the temperance for that. I'm more of I need to be running and gunning, but I do know a lot of great cheesemakers. So the idea of having like what we'll call like a traditional village dairy set up somewhere in the Hudson Valley or something would definitely be part of what I do. And then yes, I would love to get on the road and I don't know if I'd be able to do it per se anymore. I have people that I'm close with that are better suited from like a familiar, like I have 2 kids now. I've got a loving wife. But the idea of having a never-ending tour of cheesemonger inspiration, education, facilitation, activation, is something that's actually more close to reality and in the works, regardless of the lottery. The whole traditional village cheese commune would require the lottery because that takes a god awful amount of money and a desire to not make money. Because that's one of the pitfalls of American cheese making is that they're first or second generation, so they haven't had decades to amortize the investment, and therefore they try to make it up with each piece of cheese, which makes their cheese priced out of the market, which then shoots them in the foot. So having a war chest allows for that. Make more content. I'm trying to make a documentary film about cheesemongers. I'm in the process right now of trying to garner investment for it. I'm partnered with Academy Award-winning Radical Media, who recently won the Academy Award for Summer of Soul. My EP is Stacey Reese of the Warhol Diary. So we're actively right now seeking funding to make a documentary film. I pitched a competition reality show for cheesemongers last summer. I have another one written that's a little bit simpler and more easy to execute. I'm hoping that with the documentary film, which I'm going to wind up investing in, that will raise the star. From there, that will shine brighter, which will then allow me to be more of an EP on developing cheese-related content that can reach the masses. Because my ambition is still the same, right? Raise the flavor profile on cheese. Get more people eating great cheese. And the way to do that is by embracing the cheesemonger community and let them be the DJs of flavor.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I love it.
All right, well, this has been lovely.
Awesome, and thank you so much for your time, Adam.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Me. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. Everybody, please make more cheese, eat more cheese, spread more cheese, love cheese.
Tickets for the Cheesemonger Invitational are available now at cheesemongerinvitational.com. It's Sunday, June the 25th, and as a member of the public, you turn up and you eat all of the cheese.